Hello class, Del Ballou here. I'm coming back to work on this beach scene. One thing I noticed when I looked at the video, which is one of the nice things about making a video of what I'm doing, is that I really don't like what's happening here. So, and then I got too much turp in it. So let me dab that off. I felt like this was a little too well formed to be believable. So I'm just going to work on that for just a second here. Now, it's very easy for me to get caught up in clouds. And I said I was not going to complicate these, so it's exactly what I think I'm doing anyway. Okay, stop it. All right, the next thing I'm going to do in this session is to work on the water. Now, when I go to the beach on the southeast coast, the waves are not a tremendous part of my experience. I like to listen to them, but they're pretty uneventful in most cases. When the tide's coming in, there are a little more wave formations than when it's going out, of course. And so I want the water to be in this painting, but I don't want it to dominate the painting. So what I'm going to do is kind of an impressionist image of the water, and I'm going to be using this let's see, it's a number, well, it says it's a number 12 flat, but I don't think that's exactly right according to standard sizes of paintbrushes. But anyway, it is a one-stroke brush, and it is synthetic, and it's still fairly new, so the paint hasn't gathered up around the ferrule yet, so it's not, springing out. And sometimes I like brushes to do that, and other times they're not good for that reason. But the strokes that I want to make on this ocean would need this flatter, softer brush. So I'm going to be using the same color that I used in the sky and in my sand, as a matter of fact, which is cobalt blue. And I'm going to want it kind of dark in places, but I'm going to solve that darkness by streaking some other colors in there to give the impression of movement in the water. So I'm adding just a touch of the cadmium red light, which we're also referring to as orange. And I'm going to be move my canvas up. And this is still somewhat damp, so I'm going to try not to put my hand down too much. But I'm going to try to go along this ridge. The tape does give me a little bit of a ridge that stops my brush from getting crazy. I actually think I can put a piece of tape down on that. I'm working with this canvas flat on the table, so it's a little more difficult to maneuver. It's not going to stick really good because the paint's still slightly wet underneath. Okay, let's see if that will speed things up for me. The other issue I have to deal with on this particular painting, besides the positioning, is the fact that this is still wet, so I can't put my hand down to get it as smooth as I would like it. And it really is okay that the color varies across here, because that's exactly what I want it to do. I have grayed my color down. And I want you to see what my palette looks like. I've mixed the cobalt blue with the cadmium red light, but I have 2 or 3 different tones here. So I'm going to be using out of all of them so that I can display different layers. And I'll also be drawing directly from my cobalt blue for the areas that I want to be a little darker. This may be difficult to see. I can make this a little bit closer for you. As soon as I get past this horizon line, I'll remove that tape. Okay, now I'm taking most of that blue paint out of my brush, and I'm going to the white. And I want to leave it streaked in places because I want to create the illusion that this water is moving, which in fact it would be. And I am sticking to my foreground here. Because the color underneath what I'm doing right now is varied, it also keeps my white varied. Now I am assuming that the people in my class, because we live on the coast, have had opportunity to go to the beach and to actually look at what the beach looks like as the water is coming in and flowing back out. But if you're not fortunate enough to have done that, I would suggest that you go and pay attention. A lot of really wonderful things happening when the water comes in and goes out. It brings a lot of little shells and it creates bubbles. It creates little scalloped areas where the wave is going out. Oops, that was too dark. Unfortunately, the water on our beach is kind of gray-green and muddy. I know there are beaches elsewhere that are really nice and blue. And this is the point at which I'm going to be doing some of that mud. And in this case, it's going to be water over the mud. So, Now, I'm actually having some difficulty because I'm pressing my hand down on the bottom part of this painting because it's still so damp. So I'm going to have to let it dry. Take the tape back off. I have afternoon sun interfering. Okay, so I have a good start here. Okay, I'll be back seemingly in a few moments.